I'm Tom Karlya. In this video, we'll discuss different types of complications, how you can lower your risk of developing them, and how to deal with complications that might affect you. During any given day, if your blood sugar levels are very high or very low, you could suffer dangerous episodes of hyperglycemia or hypoglycemia. These acute conditions may require immediate attention. Poorly controlled diabetes also causes long-term complications, such as eye, nerve, and kidney disease. Your risk of heart disease and stroke are also much higher, and there's a host of other complications to guard against. High blood sugar really can harm much of your body. But there is good news. As the father of 2 children with type 1 diabetes, I know from our family's experiences that you have the power to prevent serious complications. And if you already have them, you can slow their progression or in some cases, maybe even reverse them. The key is managing your diabetes carefully on a daily basis to keep your blood sugar levels in a safe range at all times. And that's true whether you have type 1 or type 2 diabetes. One thing I can assure you is if you don't control diabetes, it will undoubtedly surely control you. Here's what you need to know first and foremost. Be prepared. Planning is essential for the future, for an emergency. It means always having on hand everything you need to control your blood sugar, no matter where you are or what is going on in your life. You know, having 2 kids with diabetes, we have what we call the epicenter, the place where we keep all their supplies, the most crucial part of this house, that whenever we need things in emergency, or we need their insulin or their supplies, we have it in one location. We have 2 shelves, one for Bobby, or Rob, one for Caitlin. As you can see, they're jam-packed full of supplies. Should they run low and they need orange juice, we have it here. Should they need insulin, should they need testing supplies, batteries, it's all kept right here in this door. The refrigerator in our house, it's more than just food and fun. It's a lifesaver. And up above here, this is very crucial too. In here, this is our emergency bag. The planning is so crucial. You can't wait for an emergency to happen to start planning. You need to plan now. And in here, we have all kinds of supplies that we can take on the run. Whether we're going into our car on a trip, you don't know when a car could break down or there could be traffic on the expressway. You have to be prepared at all times, not even to mention hurricanes and storms. We grab this and we run. Both of our kids are on an insulin pump. You cannot assume that even a battery should not be in an emergency kit, because a battery can die at any time. What if the pump malfunctions? Well, then we have syringes. And if you have type 2 diabetes, you should always have syringes if you're taking insulin.
So this is my room, and in here I have a whole bunch of supplies that I could need on a daily basis so I don't have to go to where our storage is. Glucose tablets, ketone strips, extra pump supplies, syringes. My insulin is in the refrigerator, but that's downstairs. And over here is the stuff that I keep on my nightstand, so it's there in the middle of the night if I need it right away. So I have my strips, meter, and the pen light to test. And here's my continuous glucose monitor, and I keep it in a tin of marbles, so when it goes off in the middle of the night, if it goes out of range, the vibrations shake and it'll wake me up so I can test my blood and treat it as needed.
I'm standing here in front of some of the awards my kids have won. The very interesting thing about kids with diabetes is they're really just kids, and they should be able to live their lives like anyone else. They should be able to be in the homecoming court, and they need to be class officers, and they need to play baseball, and they need to play soccer, and adults need to go to work, and they need to be in business. They need to do whatever they need to do, but they do it with diabetes. They're true heroes, and the best way to do that is to plan for it, be ready for it, take care of your diabetes. We'll be back to discuss a number of specific complications, but first, let's pause for a brief quiz about being prepared to keep your blood sugar levels under control. As Dr. Edelman stressed in our very first video, It's very important to try to avoid extreme low or high blood sugar events known as hypoglycemia and hyperglycemia, and to know what to do if they happen to you. With hypoglycemia or low blood sugar, you may feel shaky, weak, anxious, even confused. You may sweat. You might also feel grumpy and hungry. If you have hypoglycemia symptoms, you need to react. You need to do something. First thing you need to do is check your blood sugar. If you can't check your blood sugar, you need to call for help. But because everyone is different, talk to your doctor about the carbs, snacks, and quantities that you should consume when you have a glycemic reaction. You need to do that in advance, because when you need this information, well, it may be too late. If your blood sugar's at the other extreme, too high, you could experience hyperglycemia. Most people don't have symptoms until it's really high. For example, above 250 or even more. So be sure to monitor your blood sugar levels regularly. Remember, as with hypoglycemia, hyperglycemia reactions can be different in all patients. So work with your medical professionals and be ready to do what's right for you when hyperglycemia happens. This is one of my favorite pictures of Caitlin. At about the time that this picture was taken, we were at an amusement park and we were standing in line and we tested Caitlin's blood sugar. And she was actually about 125, so we were getting ready to go on the line. And it was a hot day. It was in Florida. It was warm. Less than 10 seconds later, Caitlin could barely stand. She almost collapsed in our arms. We carried her over, and in that short amount of time, seconds, she dropped to 40. So you see, diabetes doesn't care. Even when you plan for the best case scenario, it just doesn't care. Now let's talk about the major long-term complications and any specific steps you can take to delay or prevent them. First, people with diabetes do have a higher risk of blindness. Have a thorough eye exam every year, more often if you're having any eye problems. You can have diabetes eye damage even without symptoms, so you need to have that exam. If you do develop eye problems, in most cases, early treatment can prevent severe vision loss. People with diabetes can also develop foot problems, such as a tingling or loss of feeling, insufficient blood flow, or change in the shape of your feet or toes. That's because high blood sugar can damage the blood vessels and nerves that go to the very ends of your feet. A tiny nick you might not notice, well, that can turn into a major infection. So you need to be extra careful to protect your feet. Wear well-fitting shoes and socks, especially during any outdoor activity. Keep your feet clean and dry. Use warm, not hot water in your tub or shower so you don't burn your feet. Check your feet every day for any cuts, blisters, or redness. Ask your healthcare provider to examine your feet at every visit. People with diabetes can also develop heart disease or have a heart attack or stroke. As Dr. Edelman stressed in our first video, remember those ABCs. Keep your A1C, blood pressure, and cholesterol, ABC, in your target ranges. Make smart food choices. Stay active and take advantage of medications your doctor recommends, such as aspirin or drugs that lower cholesterol. People with diabetes should also have their kidneys checked on a regular basis. With early kidney disease, you won't even notice any symptoms. Don't wait for symptoms to develop before you have your kidney function tested. You can prevent kidney disease by keeping your blood sugar and your blood pressure as close to normal as possible. If you have high blood pressure, ask your healthcare provider about diet changes you can make and medications you can take to prevent damage to your kidneys. If you think you may have diabetes, don't wait to get tested and be aware of these risk factors. Being overweight, not being physically active, diabetes in your family can also increase your risk. Gestational diabetes, which is diabetes that develops in some pregnant women. If you have had gestational diabetes, you have a higher risk of developing diabetes later in life. Finally, being older than 45. That's right. Even if you have no other risk factors, just getting older increases your risk of diabetes. If you have any of the risk factors, ask your healthcare provider to test you for diabetes. The sooner you know you have it, the sooner you can take steps to prevent any serious complications and prevent emergencies as well.
So I'm not just a person with diabetes, but I'm a person that helps individuals with diabetes as well in emergency situations at the local ambulance in my town. It's very often that people are not testing when they're supposed to, they're not eating what they're supposed to, they're not giving themselves the insulin that they're supposed to. Don't wait for an emergency to happen. If you think that you have diabetes, get tested. And if you do have diabetes, make sure you're prepared. Got it all done.
Careful, honey.
Well.
The diabetes journey is a long journey, and I hope some of the things that we discussed will help you along that journey. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to diabetes advocacy, you are your own best advocate. Take the steps now so you can have a long and healthy life. The choice is yours. You can live with diabetes, or you can live with diabetes. Thank you for joining us in our home today, and I hope we helped you make a little bit of a difference in your life living with diabetes. I'm Tom Karlya.